So Cam, what did you change since last week?
Yeah, so since last week, I actually attended a social event where there were some sick people. So I immediately, I guess, started the being around people protocol, and I took zinc straight after that. I gargled. So, I feel like it was a very timely episode. I mean, it would have been better to avoid them, but I didn't know until I got there. So that's why I changed. How about you, Christoph?
Well, I guess we'll have the episode on friends on how to do that way of the future. I also started gargling actually. It's not hard. It reduces your infection rate by 30%. So I was like, let's just gargle. All right.
Awesome.
Let's go. All right. Welcome to Euzoia, where we look at one part of your life every week and what are best practices to just 80/20 it and improve it. I'm Christoph and I'm here with
Cameron?
Great. And today we are going to look at risks. So the last 4 episodes were all about like how you can live the healthiest life possible. But of course, if you overdo this a bit, you end up like Brian Johnson, who like will live apparently forever, but seems to have at least a very strict, really regulated life that very few people, I guess, would like want to switch with. So it's all about like knowing the risks you take consciously and then deciding like, is it worth it for me or not? And yeah, Cameron, you want to kick us off with some further risks?
Yeah, definitely. So the main metric we're going to use to look at risks is called the micromort. So one micromort is a 1 in a million chance of death, which sounds a bit morose, but there you go. So really, you want to minimize how many micromorts you accumulate. Of course, you are going to accumulate some just by living and going outside your house. But
Yeah,
here's
one day of living is like 24
right.
micromorts, right? That's roughly
Yes, that's right. That's right. So here's kind of a few different activities that cause micromorts. So we're going to start with commuting. This is one of like the main areas. So this is 1 hour of commuting through these different means of transport. So a car is 0.2, which is safer than walking, which is 0.3. And then we have cycling at 2. And we have the more, I would say, more risky ones like motorbiking is 6. And then taking a scooter taxi in a developing country is 10. And there are some things that you can do to, kind of mitigate these. One is like wearing safety gear, so wearing a helmet, especially if you're biking or on a motorbike, taking driving courses, being generally safe on the road, not running red lights, not texting and driving, not drinking and driving. I would say personally, one thing I do, because I ride my bike around London, is I use City Mapper, and on it actually has a quiet mode where you can basically take back roads and safer roads and avoid the main road. Like, I think it's probably, a lot of these micromorts are coming in the most dangerous scenarios, like on the highway or on very busy roads with fast speeds. So even within these, there's some things you can do to mitigate them. And then we have adrenaline sports. Skiing is 0.7, scuba diving is 5. You're going on to more risky ones here. Skydiving is 8 per jump. Paragliding 74, climbing Matterhorn 2,840 per ascent. So these are more risky, I would say, optional activities, and there's quite a difference between these. So I think you can be a little bit choosy as well. And then to put it in perspective, as we mentioned, 1 day of living is 24. So this is just being alive basically. COVID vaccine 2.9, COVID infection at age 25 100, COVID infection at age 65 is 14,000, giving birth is 120. Over to you, Christoph.
Well, yeah, that's like a lot of numbers, and I'll continue with some others. But I think it's always good to remember to put it in perspective, right? So if like 1 day of living is roughly 24 micromorts, and taking a scooter taxi is 10, then it means like every time you take the taxi is like a third of a day worth of life that you're kind of risking away. And like sometimes that might be worth it, or like if you're on a holiday, maybe it's just fun to do it. But it's good to keep that in mind, I guess. Also, good thing on the bicycling. I think Amsterdam has like so different cultural norms when it comes to taking a bike. Like nobody's wearing a helmet. Everybody's like texting and driving almost. Not everybody, but like I feel like I'll take some of these with me and report next week how I change my cycling behavior. All right, I'm gonna cover the drugs. Yeah, it's hard to find exactly those micromort statistics across like a range of different substances that you could take. There are some for alcohol and cigarettes and so on, but it's really hard to actually compare different substances across. because it's not just the risk of dying, right? It's also like the effect on your day-to-day life. It's the dependence risk. It's the effect you have on others. And there's been one famous study by somebody called Nutt, and they tried to, like, with a bunch of experts on a bunch of different criteria, rank all the different substances people tend to take on a harm score. And the harm score is both harm to yourself and harm to others. And because we are mostly focusing on ourselves here in this podcast, we looked at the harm to self a little bit. And I'm not going to read out all of them now. You can subscribe to our Substack for that. But I guess an interesting thing is that alcohol is like the second highest scoring on the list of all the substances you could take, like just right after heroin. And that's because it's, on one hand, it's like damages your organs quite a bit if you drink a lot, but also you tend to just get into more accidents. Like people drink and drive, people fall, like all kinds of accidents you might have while drunk. Just do stupid stuff. I had this friend who climbed a tree while drunk, and then the tree kind of broke because it was like a very tiny tree, and he broke both of his wrists and just couldn't. It was a bit of a rough life for the weeks after. And I think these are things people often don't think about when they take alcohol, but like that's the kind of stuff that tends to happen. If you want to play it safe, I think generally a safe level of alcohol is maybe like 2 drinks a week. To many, that might sound like not a lot. Again, it's like always knowing the risks and then weighing the risks. On the opposite end of the risk score, at least according to this ranking, is psychedelics. Those have a very low harm to self. The big risk you have there is having a bad trip, which means just very anxiety inducing experience, maybe that can also have some after effects. Yeah, maybe triggering psychosis, but that actually is that risk is higher if you take amphetamines or if you smoke cannabis regularly. To each their own. I think read the Substack if you're interested in all the details. I think with all of these things, including the activities that Cam just mentioned, I think a very good habit to have is like keep a diary, or like have a habit of like reflecting every now and then. Okay, like what did I do? Roughly, what were the risks? Like, was it worth it to me? Like, if you drink very frequently, maybe some of these events where you drink are like actually worth it, but a lot of it is also just out of habit and don't give you a lot. And I think those are the things you want to try to cut out. Same for like other substances.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's all about the trade-off, like how much you're actually getting out of the activity and like how risky is it. For me, I love riding my bike, especially at night in London. It just fills me with joy. And, it's also healthy in a sense that you're getting exercise. So for me, that's something I'm okay with the risks of. But obviously, certain activities are more risky than others. So it just, I think, worth like at least cognitively thinking about and not just like autopiloting and just, going on your day without thinking about. So maybe now a few risks from exposure. I think, just quickly, sun exposure is something that if you have 5+ sunburns in your life, it doubles your risk of melanoma. It's hard to say. And 1 in 5 people develop skin cancer in their lifetime. So, there's a couple of things you can do to mitigate this using SPF 30+, seeking shade, and generally staying out of the sun. So then we also have eyes. 1 in 3 adults over 60 vision issues, and 50% of sight loss is preventable. So for this one, you can use sunglasses, UV 400 at least. You can get your eyes checked regularly. And there's the look every 20 minutes looking 20 feet away for 20 seconds rule. And then finally, ears. 1 in 4 adults have permanent ear damage. And for this one, you can wear earplugs in loud venues and environments and not blast your headphones super loud. I think hearing is one of those ones that once you lose it, it doesn't come back. Again, with these risks, like think about the outcomes. Is it like reversible? Are you going to die? Are you going to lose your hearing permanently? Some things it's like, okay, you're going to take a knock and you're going to recover. It seems okay, but some outcomes are a lot worse than others as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I, for a long time, didn't wear sunglasses because I just didn't understand that can like actually like damage your eyes. It's like maybe very naive on my part. And I also didn't wear earplugs for a long time when partying because I felt like it just like I enjoyed the party less. I would like enjoy the music less. But I eventually found some earplugs that filter all the frequencies in the same level. And ever since I found those, it at least feels much better. And I'm happy to then take the trade-off to not get tinnitus for the rest of my life. Cool. Yeah. So this was a lot of information. Something you can do right now is just ask yourself, what is the thing that is the riskiest in your life right now. But like we gave you some examples, maybe you have some other ideas, and probably your intuition won't be too far off. And then I think the question to ask is it worth it? And is it worth it in the frequency that you're doing it right now? Maybe just spin up an AI and like try to figure out how risky is it? Is it really? You can also like keep this risk journal. I used to have a time where I kept a substance journal where I just like wrote down how much like I was drinking or doing other things, and just to kind of get in the habit of like reflecting of like what risks are worth taking, what aren't. If you are in front of a computer, just like get yourself some good earplugs and some sunscreen. And as always, if you find this interesting, subscribe, share this with a friend, get our Substack, join our Discord community where we share more of the tidbits, prepare every episode. And finally, if you would like to change something, like for example, your drinking habits, your smoking habits, of course, there's like lots of established programs out there. I've heard lots of good reviews actually on all the anonymous things like Alcoholics Anonymous. But if you just want to try something for fun, you can also commit to us that you will change a habit. And that looks like you basically say like, I will commit to, I don't know, like only drink twice a month this next month. And if I don't, I will pay you some money. So this is our revenue model, and we're trying it right now. So yeah, if you feel like you need some support on the commitment front, shout us an email and we'll set that up. Cool. Until next week. I think next week we're going to start with mental health, and we're going to report back what we changed in our risky behaviors then. Cheers.
Amazing. See you guys next week. Excited for mental health.